All right. So very interesting about Chayei Sarah. It's the few things that happened for the first time in history. Right. First Levaya, first recorded Levaya. Right. For 2,000 years of world history, people are dropping dead. Regularly. Mistama, they're buried. Because as HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Adam Rishon, Ki ofarata ofar tashuv. The first Mechubetika Levaya, with a hesped, is in this week's parsha. Like all the other generations until now, they died. Right, this was the first, real covered mess. This pulled the Sar of Livkosa, and he buys a Chelkas Kvura, and he's looking for a good place to bury her, and didn't find this in history until now. So interesting. Hello Davaru. But, it's more than that. It's the first business deal we find in the Torah. First time business was conducted is recorded. Mistama, people went to the shuk all the time. But Avram negotiating, with Ephron and the Bnei Ches, and he, and this is, the first, documented sale. Right? So, till now, Chumash never spoke about this. Min Astam, people did their buying and selling, but this is the first time. So we speak about really Kenyan. What are you thinking? It's right? First time. So first the Mechubedika Levaya, right? First recorded commerce. And after this, later in Chumash we have more things. The Yaakovinu buys karka, etc., etc. But this is the first time. Now, regarding this, and it's a very interesting chazal that Bnei Chet, right? The Avraham Avinu, involved them in the negotiations with Ephron. Piguli, Ephron ben Sochar. So Bnei Chet are mentioned 10 times. The Fnei Bnei Chet, Vayanu Bnei Chet as Avram Lemar, 10 times. So the Medrash Rabbah says on that. Kama kumas nishdabrim, imagine, with all the Sifrei Torah written throughout the generations. It's like 10 times you mentioned Bnei Ches, and for what? Right? So it says, L'lamdecha, they mentioned 10 times, Shekola mevarer, mekcho shel tzadik, kilu kiyem aseres adibras. 10 times Bnei Ches connected the aseres adibras, anyone who was there to attest to a mekach, to an acquisition, to a kinyan that a tzaddik made, he is as if he was makayim aseres adibras. What? They were the edim. It was like the kinyan on Mars Machpelah was done bifnei bnei ches. They're mevara mekchol shel tzaddik. It's ki'ilu kimu aseres adibras. What? Like, what does that mean? What's the big inyan of being mevara mekchol shel tzaddik, which is tightens the inyan that there's something special about this kinyan is mekchol shel tzaddik, right? And another thing that we find in this week's parsha for the first time ever is shidduchim. First time, right? It's an interesting thing that until Abraham and Sarah, right, the Chumash never mentions who anybody was married to. Do you know what Noach's wife's was? The wife's name was Shem's wife. Right? What? Wait, no, I'm just saying. The Chumash never found it, they never found it noteworthy until now to mention who a man's wife is, until Avram and Sarah. Right? But Avram and Sarah, it picks up in the middle. It picks up in the middle. They're already married. When the story begins, Avram and Sarah are already married. Right? It's the first time, like with Shidduchim, and how we found this Basher, the whole thing, it starts with Yitzchak. It starts this week's parsha. And after that, Mimela, how Yaakov has, what he goes through to get Rachel and Leah, and how Moshe Rabbeinu finds Tzipora. All right, after that's mitgalgel more, it starts here. Shidduchim starts here. Because even if Avram and Sarah, so it started Lemechza, right, that just the Torah mentions how they were married to each other and discusses a little bit of their interaction. But like Shidduchim from the get-go, first time in this week's parsha. looking for a wife, sending Eliezer, seeking a wife. Right? Now there's a inner case, not just Stam in the same parsha, but everyone knows, Stam Kiddushin is bekesef. How you know an Isha's nickname is bekesef? No? Kicha Mistei Ephron. Everyone knows that, right? Right at the beginning of Kiddushin, right? It's before you burn out, right? Right. Kicha Mistei Ephron. So hello, Dabaru. There's something going on over here. Right? Now we spoke about this in previous, but I want to zoom in on this inyan of Kinyan. Right, and then we'll work work it backwards to Levaya. That it's that this inyan of Kinyan is something that's nogea Kiddushin, because that's what Kiddushin is be'etzem. Kiloshen Rambam in Perek Aleph of Hilchos Ishus, that once the Torah was given, so the Torah was commanded us sheyikne osa tchila va'achar kach tiyel. You have to make a Kinyan in her. Kiddushin is a Kinyan. Right, so it's very apropos. First time we found Kinyan in the Torah is the first time we find Kiddushin in the Torah. Right, so mamash being seeking a wife and taking her as a wife. Right, so let's talk about Kinyan, and let's make may point out an interesting observation, right, about the nature of Kinyanim. Right, the chinuch in mitzvah shin lamed vav. So that's the mitzvah saseh in Parshas Bechukosai. Ki v'chim timkru mimkar yisecha okano miyara misecha. So that's a mitzvah saseh lodun bedine hakinyonim. And then continues, the mitzvah lo saseh of al tono ishas achiv. There's a mitzvah saseh lodun bedine kinyonim. It's one of the 248 positive commandments. Right. So the chinuch, goes with the minyan mitzvahs of the Rambam. So he brings it down, and he asks a question, like, "Hare, we have another mitzvah saseh that's already in Parshas Mishpatim, right? Of al kol davar pesha, mitzvah saseh lodun ben tovea v'nitva." There's a mitzvah that if there's a dispute, right? So it's a mitzvah saseh to sit, and adjudicate the dispute and come to achra, right? And which encompasses, the chiyuv to sit on all dinei mominus, for a bezdin to sit on all dinei mominus. So the chinuch is bothered. What do I need a separate mitzvah of ladun b'dinei hakinyonim, right? When it's already nichlau and tovea v'nitva. That's the question that he raises. And his teretz is it's a forced teretz. He says that it's kachu darka shel Torah, that when things are very, very either recurring in human events or very important, the Torah will give it its own mitzvah. And he says, since kinyonim is just like we have it every single day, and it's we need it for our livelihood because of its tadirus and its chashivus, it got its own mitzvah, right? The Torah says, is obviously is very, very difficult. Right? When taking a look in the Rambam, the Sefer HaMitzvahs, Aseh Reish Mem Hey. Right? So the Rambam says, the mitzvah Aseh is Hilchos Kinyonim. Right? It's not ladun as into that the bezin has to adjudicate in a dispute, right, between a koneh and a moicher. It's the halachas of a kinyan, right? That there is such a thing as kinyan, and that there is such a thing as kinyan has its own mitzvah saseh. And this is a davar sharoy lis bonen, to think about what a kinyan is. Right? What does it mean to be koneh something? Right? And how it might be different than the rest of dinei mominus. Right? That it goes above and beyond an issue of dispute. Right? See, by the rest of dinei mominus, conventional dinei mominus, I say that my thing is by you, right? Whether you stole from me, gneva, gzela, you're a shomer, right? My money is in your pocket. You didn't take good care of it. My thing is by you. Even poyalim, schirus poyalim, which also has its own mitzvah saseh in the Torah, of the din of that there is such a thing as schar poel, But it's the same idea. I invested. I worked for you. My handiwork, my Maisa Yadayim, whatever I did for you, is by you, right? So since you can't give it back to me, so you're gonna have to at least pay me. Right? So by regular dinei mamos is that mamoni gabach in one form or another. Mamoni gabach, you stole it. Mamoni gabach, that you didn't watch it properly and it got lost. Right, and so you have to pay me midina shomer that was poshe and shmira, or even a poyel. I invested, I put in my ma'aseh yadayim. I put in. So now, if you can't give me my work back, so at least give me money instead as a tmura. Right, so all the conventional disputes in any type of monetary affair, mamoni gabach, you're holding on to my money. My kesef or my shava kesef. So if you can't give the thing itself back to me, then you have to give me something bitmura, right? Something instead of it. That's not what kinyonim are, right? Kinyonim is almost, if you think about it, it's almost magic. What used to be mine is now yours. That's what a kinyon is, right? Now, it is a mistake to think, we happen to use kinyonim in order to make money, but it's not avazalo kashur. It's not betzem for making money. It could be used as a tool, right, to make money. But what is a kinyan? A kinyan is that I could actually, the Torah empowered doing an amazing thing, right? This is now mine. However it is, let's say it was, whether someone gave it to me, whether I made it, or whether a person was Yerush it, me'aviv, right? You could do a hakbah on it. Now it's yours. Do I have to take money? I don't have to take money. You could be makna something for free. Right? There's the Darkei Kinyan that changed their reality shapers. They're reality shapers. That it used to be mine, now it's yours. It doesn't have to be a tmura. Even, first of all, there are plenty of kinyanim that don't involve any type of mida kenega mida klal uchlal. A kinyan shtar, a kinyan chazaka, right? A chalipin. The handkerchief they chain hat is very rarely, it doesn't have to be shava pruta. But even kinyan kesef, you think kinyan kesef is about that it was an exchange? No, a kinyan kesef, when a kinyan kesef is chal, it could be chal al pruta, right? You could be kona a field with a pruta, right? A field that's worth millions. That would be kona a woman with a pruta. Who got the better end of the deal? Whatever. It's an interesting ritva on that. The ritva and the sugya of Hamakarish B'milva. So, the Avrach Lo Zimna, you gave her more time. When Makarish with that order, you gave her extension on the loan. So it's also because of Ha'aromas Ribis. Right? So that's why it's a Ribis Gomer. That because you gave her more time, you got a woman. It's not worth that much, right? So it's not ribis gomer. It's only aron. It only looks like ribis because akona has lashon haritva. Akona isha latzmo, kona odom latzmo, right? Anyway, so okay. So the point is that even king kesef, it's not the pshat. I'm exchanging value. That's not the pshat. It's just one of the Darkei Kinyan, the pruta, the thing that you're getting, tmuras pruta. When it's a davar nikla b'kesef like karka, could be worth millions more, right? Except that we use kinyan to make money. Say, listen, you need my reshus to make a kinyan, right? I'm not going to give you reshus unless you give me kach v'kach money that we agree on. So you could use kinyanim as a way to make money. Right, so mimela we could fall into a dispute over a kinyan because I understood that I'm licensing you to take this from me, right, to make it yours, right? Tmuras kach v'kach that we agreed on, and fork over the cash, right? But that forking over the cash is a t'nai, right? It's not the etzem what kinyanim are. Kinyanim are an amazing thing onto their own that we could reshape reality, that what was called mine is not called mine anymore, right? And this could be done on a major scale of, even shifting countries, right? Muhammad is a kinyan, right? By Umas Oilam, Muhammad, kibush, right? Amam v'Moav nitaru b'sichon, right? He was kovesh, Ammon Moav, and we were not allowed to take Ammon and Moav's land, but we could take Sichon's land, and since he conquered Ammon and Moav, now it's his. Right? It's a reality shaper. It could, it changes the map of reality. That if we carve up reality, this is mine. This is me, and this and this and this is mine. That's you, and that's yours. Kinyonim reshift around the pieces of reality. Right? So now that's Be'etzim what a kinyan is. That's why it's so mitzvah saseh. It's not mamoni gabach. It's the opposite of mamoni gabach. You convert what used to be your mammon into my mammon. And vice versa. It's not mamoni gabach. Just that we could have had a difference of opinion over what I was supposed to get for allowing you to make a kinyan on my stuff. Right? But it's not be'etzem mamoni gabach. It's the opposite of mamoni gabach. You make my mammon your mammon. It's not mamoni gabach. The dispute that it could fall into is that we might have thought that there were certain accompanying conditions that we don't think were met, or I want to back out. I change my mind. Right? So it's not regular dinei mammonis. It's making a chalois on something that that the person used to belong doesn't belong to anymore. Right? It's its own reality. That's why it gets its own mitzvah saseh. The need to make kinyonim. Right? That there's that it's not just about survival. Again, this gets back to the point that mekach umimkar is not just about making money. It could be used for that, but it has a much bigger role, right, in the cosmos than parnasa. It's not about parnasa. For parnasa, however, there are other ways to make parnasa, right? Buying and selling is all about that the pieces of reality are trying to find their rightful place. So something like, you can understand, just give a very coarse mushal. There's like this house no one wants, right? Yeah, but I buy it and I flip it. I buy it and I flip it. It was, till there's the guy that he's going to buy the house and he's actually going to live in it, right? And so in the meantime, the house is flipping through one owner, another owner, until it finally finds its tachlis, right? And its rightful owner. The one that, that it's motzachein be'einav, right? Dira na, isha na, kalim noim, marchivim daito shadam. But there are these kalim that pass through 10 hands until you have the guy who finally wants it, right? Right? Of course, the Isha has to find her rightful man. Right? The same thing with the base dira. The whole thing that the idea of kinyonim is that there's a certain struggle, certain strife, a certain flux until things find their real rightful owner. That's the mahus of mekach umimkar. Now you could use it to try to make money along the way. Right? But the mahus of mekach umimkar is the idea that there's as it were, there's bilbul in the world, there's pizur. Things are spread around, and we're working on, getting out there, person finding his rightful chelik in the world. That's what you need kinyonim for. Right? Because we live in a world that's mefuzar, and everyone's like, in the course of the mekach umimkar, things are passing through, hopefully to come to a resting point where it finds, the person it really should be by. Right? So now by the easiest example the easiest example of this is shidduchim, right? So as the Gemara says in Kiddushin, also at the beginning, derech ha'ish lachzor achrei isha, because ba'al aveda mechazer achrei avedaso, right? Right, the one who's the rightful owner of that lost, your zivuk is your lost object, right? Because you were born here, right? I was born in America. My wife was born in England. I had to go through Kam Gagum. We met in Israel. Right? Right? And so I'm sure my story is probably tame according to other stories, relative to other stories people go through. Megal go through so many Gilgulim, right? Until the Baal Aveda and the Aveda hook up. And that coming together is called Kinyan. Right? but it's not. But Hamevin Yavin that it's that this matzav between man and his zivug. That's a mashal for the way really the whole life is set up. Right, the whole life is that the whole cosmos is in a matzav of pizur, and that we have to go. Things go through kama v'kama gilgulim until until they hook up with each other. Right? And, this matzav is a lot more chamur, and then during the tkufa that we call golus, things are mefuzar meforad, right? That's why also people have to travel for their parnasa. People have to travel. Some people are zeicha. There's a davar nifla mod lisbonin. That it has to do with mamash the side of tikkun hanashamas. Why is it that some people they're zocha to do business wherever they are? They don't have to travel. They just pop open their laptop and they make money. Right? They don't have to go anywhere. Or their office is 20-minute commute from the house. And some people got to go internationally. They fly there. Right? This is davar amok that Akash was misavev, right? That this person's neshama, what's the halakim of the bria that are chelko ba'olamo are mefuzar u'meforad, right? And Akash Baruch gives him the hechrach haparnasa to cause him to wander and to hook up with whatever is rightfully his, that in what finds its tikkun in being mechuber to him. Every neshama has what it's metakin in the world. The thing is that the chalakim that are called chelkacha ba'olamcha are mefuzar mefarad, just like your wife. Right? You have to go find her, and that's what the key is, to pull those pieces together. So you have to go through kama v'kama gilgulim, right, to hook up with that piece that's missing. Yeah. And that's all because of Chet Adam Rishon. Chet Adam Rishon, when the Ra was entered Chalolo Shel Olam because of the Chet Eitz Hadas. All right, so as the Nefesh Chaim explains, Eitz Hadas, Tov v'Ra, Das Lashon Chibur, the Tov and Ra got intermingled. So now make the cheshbon. When the Tov and Ra get intermingled, mixed in each other, that means that there's like Ra that gets between the Chelkei HaTov. Used to be all the Tov was together. And all the Sitra Achra was on the other side in the form of the Nachash. Right? Totally separate. And in a world like that, you didn't have to make any kinyonim, because all the Tov was together. And all the Ra that was Misnagad Tov was also on its side. It's called Sitra Achra. It was on the other side. But because of Chet Adam Rishon, that now Tov and Ra got mixed together, so now you have the Ra coming between the Chelkei HaTov, right, in this Tarovis, and that's what causes the Pizur. That's what that's already the shorish for Golus, because when the Ra gets between the Chel, it's mafrid between the Chelkei HaTov, right, and now you have to try to pull the pieces together. You know what it's called in the Lashon, the Mekubalim? Shviras HaKelim. Shviras HaKelim. Right? That the Kelim that once were Betikun, right, now got broken. Right? And you got to pull the pieces together. And that's what you have to do, with Kinyonim. And this is the side of what they do. The Empress asked the Tana, what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do since he was Boirei the world? So it's Mizavik Zivugim. So the Maharal explains, Mizavik Lav Dafka Zachar Nekeva. It could be Mizavik hooking a person up, Bashgacha Pratis with whatever, even with his business partners. So Mizavik Zivugim, that's the tikkun that still needs since Sheshmei Breishis, because the problem is that even if the Bria is full of Tov, the Chelkei HaTov are bepizur, and there's the quest of pulling the pieces together, and that's called Kinyan. Right? And Kinyan is a world shaper. Right, that when a tzaddik is koine, right, so those chalakim are nichnas to the sitra de kedusha. Chas v'sham, you let the Russia be koine, those chalakim go to the sitra achra, and it's a battle, right? It's a battle that we want to be koine the olam for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, be koine the olam for the sitra de kedusha, right, and amok yoter, right, to go even deeper. Right, that when things go to the Sitra Achra, there's no Kinyan there. because it doesn't really belong to him. It's just gezel. Because not its rightful place. Right? When things go to the Kedusha, it's Kinyan. Bailus. Right? Right? And what's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is that when things go to Sitra Kedusha, where Kaina, as we said, and you know what another word of that, another word for Kinyan is? Kedusha, like Kiddushin. When you make a Kinyan on a woman, there's Kiddushin. There's Kedusha. Right? Right, because these things go to the yichud, the pieces are pulled together and they belong together. That's where kedusha schal. Right, when the ra will be pushed to one side and all the chelkei kedusha will be drawn together, then the world will be kadosh. The world is chulin now; it's chol because it's a tarovis of kedusha and tumah. So in that state, the world is chol. But when we make kinyanim, we pull the world together. Right? And when the things are in their rightful place, it's kulo kodesh. It's kulo kodesh. It's when it all belongs to the Sitra de Kedusha. Right? Right? So like living with a woman without Kiddushin. So you could be Makayim Peruvu, but there's no Kedusha there. Right? So here's what, the big change that we're seeing in this week's parsha. We're beginning to see Tikkun Chet Adam Rishon. That Chet Adam Rishon caused the Pizur. Right? Right? It caused the whole world to be, the Ra was mitmatzeya, it stuck itself in between the Chelkei HaTov. Right? Causing the Pizur. Right? And in that world, there wasn't real Chibur. Yispardu kol palei oven. Right? Evildoers, they're bepirud. They're not, Kinus, yafel tzadikim yafam. Pizur, yafel l'rashayim ve'yafel olam. So even though people, of course, they had wives, but there was no real chibur there. It was just like, pragmatic. Right? People did business, but it wasn't about things finding their rightful place in the world. Avraham Avinu going all the way around the world, right? Preaching HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There was also in it, tikkun shel olam, trying to pull the pieces together. Achos lanu ketana, ze Avraham Avinu, she'ichas kol ha'olam kulo, ka'odam ha'ma'aches hakera. He united the whole world like a person who sews up a rip, sewing up the cosmic rift. Now, Avraham and Sarah first met each other, right, when they weren't Jewish yet. Right? So the Torah doesn't talk about how they found each other. Right? It's like the Torah doesn't talk about the marriage of all the Durs up to Avraham and Sarah, because it didn't start off b'kedusha. Just man and woman found each other, right? But by the time they died, they were connected. Right? They were connected. So now this connection between Ish and Isha, the connection between all the chalakim that belong together, you know what it affects? It affects the guf and the neshama also. And it is the side of tzadikim afil b'misosam kruyim chayim, rishoyim afil b'chayim kruyim mesim. Right? Rishoyim, even when they're alive, they're dead. Because in a Russia, there's no chibur in his world. There's also no chibur between his guf and neshama. Oh, baby, there's no chibur. Right? The neshama wants that, and his guf is doing that. Right? Ein chibur. As afil b'chayim kruyim mesim. Right? Rishoyim afil b'misosam kruyim chayim. Because by a tzaddik, his body and his soul are married. And that's Zar in this week's parsha. And then Avram and Sarah are mashal for guf and neshama, that the guf that does rotzen of the neshama is called Sarah. And even in death, they don't part. They have a kinyan in each other. They have a kinyan. It's like man and woman are married, the neshama and guf get married. Men and women are opposite, but they work together. Neshama and guf are opposite, but they work together. And so tzaddikim, where there's a kinyan between this neshama and guf, afilu b'misas korim, they're still bonded, they're still connected. And Avram and Sarah demonstrate that. They died as Jews, right? So so in a world where there's no chibur between guf and neshama, which was the mitzvah, no kinyan, no chiburim between guf and neshama, right? So of course, until now, all the Doris, they threw the body in the garbage, right? Computer doesn't work anymore. You throw it in the garbage, right? And the same thing with the goof. Okay, it gets decomposed. So, they probably buried it in the ground just the same because you don't want to throw it in the street, right? What's choshev about a goof? The neshama's choshev. The neshama went to Shemayim. Goof is, right? But when you come to Avram and Sarah, where they're getting over the pirud, the cosmic periods, they're also getting over the period between neshama and guf. And we talk about their marriage. We talk about their marriage as a mashal of also the matzav between the Jewish soul and the Jewish body. There's a kinyan between them. They're working together. There's a real chibur. It's not an accident. It's not a biological accident. It's a real chibur. So now the guf, which was maush mechuber to a neshama, deserves a burial. Deserves a chashva burial, and Avram, who represents the neshama, goes. And this is what it says in the Zohar by a tzaddik. The neshama goes to the levaya and says a hesped on the guf. They're married. They're connected, and even in death they don't part. B'chayim u'mosam lo nifradu. It's just a temporary separation until Tchias HaMesim. There's a kinyan there between the guf and the neshama, right? And that's why you have to be zochel kfura, because kayadua in the kever, the mashcha, the chavya, the snake skin from the zuma that the nachash matal chava gets removed, and then the guf is rebuilt only with chelkei atov, without chelkei hara. We're talking about that all the chelkei atov, when the guf is resurrected by Tchias HaMesim, is only the good stuff without the bad stuff, and that's why that guf could absorb the whole of the neshama, and that guf could live forever, because that guf is kodesh, because it's only the chelkei atov without the chelkei hara. And then the kfura is just a hachana for that, right? And hachana, to get the ra out, and then be rebuilt only with the good. And it's all because it has a kinyan in all the chelkei atov, just like it has a kinyan in the neshama. So this is what's called birurim. What we call kinyan, the mekubalim call birurim. That's a levarer, right? Because you have a tarovet, you have to do birurim, livror tatov, livror ta'ochel mitoch hapsolet. Birurim, kinyorim and birurim are the same, right? It's birurim, to be borer the tov mitoch the ra, right? So now we could get back to the lashon of the medrash. So Avram and Sarah, we explained, they didn't start off Jewish, but they ended Jewish. So they have the Yiddish kavura, and the Makkah Kfur of Moras HaMachpelah in Chevron, Lashon Chibur. They made Chibur. Moras HaMachpelah, the Zugas are buried there, couples, because they have Kiddushin. They have Kinyonim in each other. Right? Yitzchak and Rivka, they're born Jewish, so they have Kiddushin also. Avram and Sarah became Jewish in the middle of their marriage. Right? But now we get into understanding what it means, the oimek of all this is just to understand that Chazal, that 10 times it says b'nei chet. Chet is miloshin shvira, the Sfarim say, like chotu. It's loshin of shvira. 10 times it says b'nei chet. B'nei chet represent the shvira sakelim, right? The shvira that brings the ra into the world and causes the good to fragment, which necessitates kinyonim, to pull the pieces together. Right? Agav, there's the famous kasha the Achronim asked. How was Adam Mekadosh Chava? Right? There's no Adam. Right? It was a pilpul. Lamasa, lefi what we're saying. What? Yeah. No, the Masa, what we're saying, if we were saying, we should have mentioned this before, it's not kasha. Chava was born in Eshe. The Zosi Kare Isha, Kimishkos, she was an Eshes Ish, Mamish. Right? They didn't need Kiddushin. We need Kiddushin because everything's separate. Because of the Pizur, you need Kiddushin to pull the pieces together. By him, you didn't have to pull the pieces together. She was Mamish Eshes Ish. Right? The Kiddush is the Mishkal Neged, the fact that, the Baal of Es, and could be this one, and because we talk about this one, so you have to make a kinyan that, right? But if there's only one option, and it's very clear, it's Eshes Ish Gemura Mileda. Right? B'nei Ches, Miloshin Shvira, right? They're the problem. Ephron, says the Svarim, Miloshin Afar, that who eats Afar, the snake. Right, Ephron, The long nun looks like a nachash. Nun, nachash. Ephron, Afar Tochal. Afar Tochal. Afar snake food. Ephron and the Bnei Ches represent the kochos of the Ra, that are the problem, the shvira that there was in the Bria, that Avraham Avinu is coming to close, right? Trying to, that's the Jewish mission, to close that fragmentation, to be kaina. And that's why Am Yisrael have always been in mischar. We've always been businessmen, always. The Chinese, they make things. You didn't do business, right? No, there's an Inyan to that, because that's the Inyan. I have to go around the world, pulling the pieces together, that should all be absorbed within Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael should have a kinyan in everything. Right? And that's what it is. It says that Avraham Avinu gave Ephron, 400 shekel kesef over lasocher. So it says the Rayal. So it says, Uncle, it's miskab b'kol medinasa. It is like dollars, man. It could go, that's accepted everywhere in the world. So says the Ramchal, the Adir B'Maram, right? Because this is a lavush for Torah, right? Money just goes around the world, right? Schor, right? Goes around the world. That money that you bought to buy this, that guy used that money that he earned from you to buy something else, and then that guy takes that money and he buys something else, and that money makes its way around the world, causing kinyonim. Says the Ramchal, that kesef is a mashal for Torah. And that's a sentence that we find a lot of Chazal in, that kitov sachra mikol schira, right? Torah is called mischar, kitov sachra, ki lekach tov natati lachem. It's called mekach umimkar. It's called, what? Like zaz, right. No, so Ramchal says in the Adi B'Maram, because Torah also, Divrei Torah has to go all the way around the world, making birurim and making kinyonim, pulling the pieces together. Torah has to go schor. That's also Indian that, Am Yisrael had to go into Golos and learn Torah all around the world in different places. And the Torah has to go around the world, like that money that Abraham gave Ephron, becheshbon, that goes schor. It's mitkabo b'kol medinot. Go around the world, pulling the pieces together. Keneged b'nei chet, the shvira, keneged Ephron, the nochash, that he eats ofar, eats dirt. Right? So connected at being kone marasamach pela. Being kone. And so now the Bnei Chet, they have to be mevarer mikol shel tzadik. Now we go back to Lashon Chazal. Mevarer mikol shel tzadik. Right? They have to watch it happen, and they have to be moida, because they're connected the pizur. The kinyan is the hefech of that. And they have to be there, and they got to eat it. They got to be moida to the emes of it. Right? And a mevarer, because they have to be moided to the birur, right? The birurim of mekhol shel tzadik. When a tzaddik makes a kinyan, he's making birurim. He's bringing the chelkei atov together, uniting the chelkei atov, and it's making birurim. It's mivarer mekhol shel tzadik, and it's kilu kiem aseres hadibros. That the end of the aseres hadibros kayadua. Right? We got aseres hadibros. That's called matan Torah. Well, it's Taryag mitzvahs. So in the aseres hadibros, you maybe have 14 mitzvahs, right? Gag. Right? Maybe. Kuliyai. Right? But kayadua, that the Aseres Hadibros, this says in all the Rishonim, is the Iker Seder of Torah. That within those 10 Dibros is nichlal all the Taryag, but also in the proper Seder of how the Taryag mitzvahs interact with each other. It's like the microcosm of Seder HaTorah. So when we got Aseres Hadibros on Shavuos, it's called Matan Torah, because it's kilu the tamtzit, the raw structure of Torah, the structure of Torah. That the Aseres Hadibros is keneged, is the Aseres which are written in the Luchas are keneged the whole Seder, the Marechet, betikuno. When we were Chotei, what did Moshe Rabbeinu do? Broke the Luchas, went back lekilkulo, then back to the shvira, and then being mefazer. But at the time of the tikkun, that Yisrael Shamdu Ar Sinai Paska Zu Amasan, we were mamish lema from Chet Adam Rishon. We got the Aseres Hadibros ksuvim, written in that seder. That's when the world is betikuno in its proper seder. And I'm luchas, even the luchas ma'aseh Elokim hema. But even the luchas are ma'aseh Elokim. When everything is in its proper place and all the chelkei atov are united, even the luchas which represent the guf are Maisa Elokim. That was the Madrega of Luchas Rishonis. When we were Chote, Moshe Rabbeinu broke those Luchas. It went back to Bnei Ches. It went back to the Shvira, right? And we never recovered fully. So even the Luchas Shnias, it's still Luchas from earth, because there's still more birurim to be made. V'asirosi leva even mikir b'chem rasati lechem leiv basar. It's luchas of avonim, it's leva even that we still have, and it's going to happen when we finish the birurim. And when we pull all the chelkei atov together. So this, in Parshas Chayei sort of marks where we start feeling the effect that we're starting to fix Chet Adam Rishon. We're starting to fix Chet Adam Rishon. We're starting to overcome the fragmentation. That scene of kinyan, of Mekho Shel Tzadik, that scene that man and woman just aren't two animals that live together. There's a kinyan there, and it's big kedusha, it's kedushin, and that's saying that therefore when you live that way, so even your guf and neshama have a chibur, and that's when the guf deserves a kvura and a hesped, because that kvura is only temporary, and it's only to get the chelkei hara out. So the chibur between the chelkei atov should be complete, and that way it could be reunited with the neshama forever.